Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you could take your seats. I know we're all having lovely conversations. I'd like to get this started. Can you all hear me okay? A little louder? Where's our audio help? They're saying they can't hear us. Oh, that's a little bit better. Cool. Thank you all for joining us. Hello. Let's get this party started. Almost there. All right. My name is Kashif Mansour. I drew the short stick, I guess, and I'm a moderator, but I'm helped by Sister Nora. Sister Nora, will you want to introduce yourself? Looked like some audio problem. Try again, hitting the switch.
So when she's speaking, you should turn it off. And when he's speaking, you should turn it off.
Got it.
Otherwise, there will be echo.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Peace be upon you. My name is Nora Shazad, and we will be your moderators for today's candidate forum.
All right. We'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's going to be led by the Girl Scouts, Troop 5858. Girl Scouts, if you could come up front. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and for all.
And the Texas Pledge?
On Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. All right. Thank you to the Girl Scouts for leading the pledge. And welcome to the ICF Candidate Forum. Once again, my name is Kashif Mansour. And if we could have the candidates for FISD come to the stage and take the hot seats. I don't remember how their names are in the ballot order, but we've been asked to sort of have folks seated in ballot order. Thank you, everyone. All right. So I know this is an interfaith crowd, so I'd like to start off with a small prayer, and ask our Lord and Creator to guide us to the truth and, help us make this forum be success for the city of Frisco and be fruitful for everyone. So, amen. We have a long-standing tradition of doing this forum, and the ICF Islamic Center of Frisco overall efforts to serve the city of Frisco and surrounding areas. In addition to the candidate forum, ICF proud to serve the community through having a shelter in times of extreme cold, free medical clinic, financial and food support for those in need, and is a polling location for federal elections. And many more programs are available here as well. I'd like to add the legal disclaimer that we're a 501c3 organization, and we'd like to treat all candidates equally. The views expressed here are those of the candidates themselves and are not endorsed by ICF. And the questions I ask are also not views of ICF either. So with that said, passing off Nora.
For today's forum, the rules for FISD candidates are as follows. All responses are limited to 1 minute. Please see the timer right over here for notice when that time's up. Candidates will have opening and closing remarks, as well as moderated and audience question. To submit a question, please complete a postcard with the folks in the back. I believe there should be somewhere around there. And yeah. I will pass it on to you.
All right, let's begin with opening statements. Maybe we'll start from the left. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Muni. I'm running for the Frisco ISD School Board of Trustees for the place 4. Let me tell you what, I'm a Frisco resident for 13 years, and I have a master's degree in computer science. And I'm a community volunteer, community leader, and I was a former crossing guard for 3.5 years. And let me tell you what I believe in. I believe in the academic excellence, fiscal discipline, transparency and accountability, campus safety, and supporting our teachers and advocating for parental rights for our parents. And I'm humbled and honored to have your support and your vote for this election. Thank you.
The mic on between. Next person, please. Misty?
There? Yeah. Hi, my name is Misty Wamhoff, and I am running for Frisco ISD School Board of Trustees, Place 5. I am, we're here in Frisco for 17 years. I've been married to my husband, Patrick. We have 3 kids. 2 of them have graduated from Frisco ISD, and our youngest is a sophomore at Reedy High School. I am an FISD parent, I'm a mom, and I'm involved. I also serve on the Denton County Child Protective Services Board as their vice president, and I've also been involved in a lot of the PTA in my kids' schools. A couple of things that I want to focus on with my campaign is academic excellence. I believe that each child should really have that great education that Frisco ISD brings. Safe schools is the other campaign priority. The other thing would be student enrollment, as well as good financial budget. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. And first and foremost, thank you for taking the time and having us here. I really thanks the opportunity. I am Babu Venkat. I am running for Frisco ISD Place 5. First and foremost, I'm a Frisco parent. We moved to Frisco ISD 16 years ago just because of the excellence that our kids can get in this community. And I have 2 kids. My son graduated from Frisco ISD, and my daughter is currently in high school as well. And I strongly believe that we need stronger schools that is going to build bright futures for our kids. And I professionally work as an executive leader in a publicly traded company for 12 years, and I'm currently serving as a chief revenue officer for a technology company. I hold 2 master's degree with an advanced degree from advanced management program from the Wharton School as well. And I wanted to focus on campus safety, academic excellence, teacher retentions, and we're currently seeing headwinds on declining enrollments and fiscal responsibility. Those are going to be the core areas that I'd like to focus on. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Sri Maji. First of all, thank you all for being here, and thank you, ICF, for hosting this event. I've been a Frisco resident for 10 years, and I'm a parent to a Frisco ISD student who is a sophomore at Centennial High School right now. I'm no stranger to many people in this room because I've been serving our community and our schools for a long time. Some of the things I've done include I've served on the board of Frisco Education Foundation. I've been on multiple district advisory councils, including Legislative Leadership Committee right now. I take great pleasure in mentoring our students in the classroom through programs like DECA, ISM, and Incubator. Professionally, I'm a senior corporate leader, have 25 years experience working at companies like T-Mobile and Chase. The reason I'm running for Frisco ISD is we are at a turning point as a district. We have significant headwinds coming our way, including enrollment, budgeting, teacher retention, and things like that. And we need a strong, experienced leader with the right mindset and ability to bring a community together to address these issues for the years ahead. Thank you so much.
Technology loves me, guys. Thank you so much for your opening statements. So I do have a question. Recent threats to the school and associated school lockdowns have increased recently and have scared a lot of parents and students. All students deserve to feel safe in school. Are we doing enough to protect our kids? If not, what improvements or changes would you support to strengthen safety protocols across Frisco ISD schools?
Well, I think we have a great partnership with the city of Frisco when it comes to the police, fire, and emergency management. Many of the recent threats turned out to be hoaxes, but the schools, in my opinion, have done the right things. By securing the campuses first, notifying the parents, ensuring there is no threat before releasing the kids back to the school. Our kid at Centennial had to go through the same process, so we understand how stressful it is. I would say we keep on looking at solutions from a security perspective. I actually have met John Brody, who's the Director of Security and Emergency Management at FISD, on multiple occasions. We're actually looking at an innovative solution that one of the students have come up with to help door safety and automation and things like that. But I think I feel really good about where we are as a district and the partnership we have. There's also the SAFER program that the city of Frisco has, so you have real-time view into cameras inside our campuses so we can spot if there's any threat and address right away. And the SRO program is great as well. Thank you.
Campus safety is definitely, it's bothering for everybody. And I know the recent hawks and a lot of things has bothered every parent, like my daughter. I mean, it's been scared. The minute every text you get, every message you get, it always, you panic. The current situation, we have done a lot in terms of security. The ISD have done a very good job. I commend them, right? And we have SROs and the programs, and the communication has been great. But I firmly believe there is always room for improvement, right? And we have cameras, we can bring in automation, etc. But we also need to strengthen our cybersecurity, right? And in fact, the recent things, if you look at, the challenges were mainly because emails coming in, right? And today's world, we should be able to filter out and weed out, have a professional IT infrastructure that can tell us whether these are real threats or not. And from an administrative standpoint, ISD have done a fabulous job on intimating parents, keeping our kids safe. But I do think we can do a better job on how do we improvise and filter out some of those threats and make sure it's a credible threat or not, and much sooner, and more improvement to make. Thank you.
Okay, every parent in this room wants to know and wants to have peace of mind that their child is safe at school while they're learning. Yes? Okay. I believe that we should be very proactive when it comes to safety. I believe we should be consistent and we should have strong partnerships with our schools, with our law enforcement, as well as our families. Frisco ISD has, with the help of the legislation, now has covered and protected all of our campuses. Middle schools and high schools, we have SROs, and the elementaries, we have marshals. That is a really, really good thing. I will continue to champion the fact that we need to keep safe schools. We have to have clear protocols to make sure that when there's any type of emergencies, make sure that they're ready to respond quickly and communicate with transparency to all parents. Thank you.
The campus safety is very important to me. As a former crossing guard, I know how hard it is for the parents to drop off their children based on the trust they have with the school district. And when they pick up the kids from the school, the same thing. So I was there in the first hand to see them, whether it's rain or shine. Every day I was there to help the children to make sure that they reach the home very safely. When it comes to we have a standard procedures, but still we need to do a lot of improvement on the safety. For example, when they have a hoax threat, all the parents are going to each school and crowded there. What if some bomb went through? There is no standard procedure for it. We need to improve it. Definitely we need to improve how they can pick up the kids orderly fashion. But it is not happening. It was total chaos in every school. We saw every threat. That we need to address it. There is no leadership to address those kind of issues. The second of all, last year we had a murder. Last year we had a murder at the playground. So the school, it was broad daylight, murder happened. The school district didn't even say anything. Not even single sympathy to the parents of the Frisco, parents. And you all know how badly they treated their parents. Okay? So I do believe all lives are matter. Every single life matters to us. So we need to make sure that every student is safe inside the school, whether it's a playground or inside the campus. And I am for the bringing the marshal programs.
We're at time, Money.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick reminder, I think we had announced if the audience has questions, there's folks in the back. They've moved up front now. So the guys with the green baskets have cards for you if you want to ask audience questions. That way we can keep things moderated. Thank you, Brother Farouk and Sister Sabah. So reach out to those folks that are raising their hands, I guess. All right, next questions if you guys are ready. And then this time we're just going to go back from the left that way. So Frisco ISD is experiencing changing enrollment patterns. I think some of you guys discussed this. This may impact funding due to declining enrollment. What will you do to address this issue?
Okay. So first of all, right now the current enrollment is standing around 63,000 students. The next decade, it is going to be below 53,000. That is what the estimate is happening here. And regarding the budget-wise, we have about close to $1 billion budget to work with, out of which 770 million we are using for operating fund. And right now, I'm glad that they have Access Frisco. They opened up and they're adding more students to bringing students from anywhere in the nearby or metroplex, who are interested in joining them. So that way they can increase it. My proposal was we can convert one of the campuses into the magnet school. Then we can make sure that, Frisco is the educational center we can attract more students to join them. And going through it, and not only Frisco, the Plano, every neighboring cities, they are all going through a similar situation. And financially, we need to make sure that whatever the revenues we generate, we want to make sure that we spend that money efficiently and make sure the fund is going for only student purpose only, student first.
Can I have the question again, please?
Yeah, the question was, FISD is experiencing changing enrollment patterns. This may impact funding due to declining enrollment. What will you do to address this issue?
Okay, for as long as we've lived in Frisco for the last 17 years, we have seen nothing but growth. Now we're actually taking a turn, right? So now we are declining, and now we have are losing students to alternative ways to get education. They're going to private schools, they're going to charter schools, and they're going to home schools. That is not the only way that's happening. The others are leaving completely the area. So I would like to see from the district an exit survey and kind of find out why those issues are happening. Most of the time when people leave, no one asks why they left. So that's one of the things that I would like to see as far as the decline in enrollment. Thank you.
Declining enrollment, I think that's a huge problem, right? It's not just only for the ISD, it's for the entire Frisco community. We have seen Frisco has grown in the last decade, right? And predominantly, the growth is purely because ISD. ISD has been the magnet that brought the families. Now we kind of hit the top of the curve, and this is a real challenge. We need to get creative. We need to look at different avenues, right? And it's a long-term solution. I mean, you can't just overnight shift the declining enrollment. We can't bring 100,000, families into the community to develop that, right? It's not, birth rate is going to be long-term. The way that we need to get creative is look at, additional streams. And something like even can think about, can we partner? UNT has recently shut down some of their programs. Can we partner with those universities and maybe add an additional year, right? How do we effectively use our campuses? And another piece for us to look at is Frisco ISD is very critical to Frisco's economy, so we need to look at work with the city, EDC, as well as the ISD workforce together to see how we can solve this problem, because it's a community-wide issue, and we need to get creative and find other additional revenue streams like I mentioned. Thank you.
Well, declining enrollment matters because 90% of our state funding is based on enrollment. And there's a formula, approximately $8,000 or so per student times attendance. So it really matters. So I think we need a long-term view. District has put together a sustainability plan. There was the end of Jan, there was a workshop, they went into a lot of details, but we need a long-term view in addressing this problem. One, let's see if there's innovative ways we can raise the revenue. So there's Access Frisco and Frisco Flex and paid pre-K and summer camps now. These are new sources of revenue. We need to look for more innovative ways of raising the revenue. Two, we need to advocate with the state of Texas. I'm on the Legislative Leadership Committee. We are just starting to formulate what we need to do for the 2027 Texas legislature, because we send our property taxes to Austin and they give us a fraction back. So we want to make sure we get as much back as possible, and that can only be done by advocacy. And the third element is expenses. Yeah, we don't want to be in a situation where we have budget deficits and we have to do some cuts and things like that. So we have to manage our expenses very actively. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think asking the same question again just doesn't give you a breather, so I'll start with Muni again, right? So next question is teacher recruitment and retention, particularly in specialized subjects, has been a challenge in many districts. What strategies would you support to ensure schools are consistently staffed with qualified teachers?
Okay, we want to focus, the SPED right now, all the students, this Tally Middle School, they closed it. You know how hard it is, right? They clubbed all the special needs children into one school. The school is also a very aged school. That is how they're treating right now. All the other campuses are very fancy campuses. I want them to make sure that the special needs kids are taken care of it, and we need to hire the rightful people based on their IEP and their requirement. We need to treat each children differently, based on their requirement. For that, we need to make sure that we hire the right staff, very patient with them, because every child, they need different requirements or needs. We need to address those. It is not a general category we need to put them in. And we need to make sure that they have a funding. We don't want to touch any of their funding cuts. And we want to make sure that every children is taken care of so that the parents can be relaxed and taken their trust that the FISD will take care of them. So that is my situation. We don't want to cut any of the budget funding for them. We want to make sure that hire the strong teachers and caretakers for those children.
Teacher retention is affecting Frisco ISD and other districts, but I feel like we can really solve this. A lot of these teachers, they're good teachers and they want to stay in Frisco. And we really need to try hard to try to keep them. The state legislator worked with Frisco ISD and the whole state to offer an incentive. It's called teacher incentive allotment. And basically what happens is that the teacher does these requirements and they get certified. And if they get certified, they get an additional pay on top of their, they get an additional piece of money on top of their payroll. Let's keep doing things like that, making programs for our teachers stronger, as well as competitive pay, as well as the class workload. Let's be very mindful of when some of these committees and some of these legislations make decisions, make sure it's in favor of our teachers. We've got to keep them, and we've got to learn how to know their concerns. Thank you.
Teacher retention is a serious problem, right? And when we talk about declining enrollments, if we don't retain our teachers, we are going to have challenges. Now, I know we have constraints from the state. There is very little we can do. We can talk about the legislative priorities and push for it, but in the short term, we have to get creative, right? And some of the ways I'm looking at is, yes, competitive pay, definitely we need to take care of their pay, but we can also get creative. For example, if you look at the benefits package right now we offer to the teacher, right? I know the state puts the minimum, right? State is not saying maximum, right? Right now, teacher, we are probably giving them about $325 per month is from the share of the ISD. I would like to look to expand that, right? Instead of giving them a pay. That's a creative way of looking at how we can put more after-tax dollars to the teachers, right? And how do we even, the ISD can save some money on tax benefits as well. So there are a lot of creative ways when you look inside our budgets to find that funding. And the other thing is a motivation, right? When we keep talking about, hey, declining enrollment, we might close schools tomorrow, right? And we need to have better communication because as an employee, the teachers are going to be concerned about where is my future is going. We have to give those assurances to them. And we need to get creative in retaining bonuses, and there are a lot of human resources practices that we can bring into table to retain them. Thank you.
Don't start my clock yet because there's several educators in the room. I just want to say thank you to all the educators in the room. Now you can start, okay? All right, okay? All right, first of all, I had the great fortune of serving on the Teacher of the Year committee this year, the 2026. So I read 25 plus applications, elementary teachers, and I was amazed by the talent we have in our classrooms, but also the impact our teachers do, not just in their classrooms, but in the campuses and the community. I think there's a couple of things we need to do to address the teacher retention problem. One is competitive pay. TIAs absolutely will help us get there. We need to make sure, the other aspect is we need to make sure we appreciate our teachers beyond just making sure they have competitive pay. One of the ways, in my opinion, we can do is make sure we reduce the administrative overhead that they have. That's gonna free up their time and help them focus on the things that matter. The other thing we can do, in my opinion, is we can do a lot more community involvement, and I have firsthand experience because I volunteer and work very, very closely with the teachers at Centennial High School. Our teachers need a lot of help, and I think we as a community can do a lot more to help them to make sure our students are successful.
I think you're asking what was the question again? Sorry, I just lost my place. What strategy would you ensure to consistently staff, not just with special education, just staffing overall? Nora, I believe you have the next question, or are we ready for audience questions?
I have the next question. With new leadership at the district level, what guidance or priorities would you share with the incoming superintendent?
All right. Just want to play by the rules, okay? I was at the FISD admin building when they had the special meeting. I was about 10 people. They announced Mr. Todd Fauci as the new superintendent. I want to thank, there's a couple of trustees here. They put a lot of time into the process. They've spent countless hours. I want to thank them. And it was a pretty thorough process, and I think at the end of it, they got the right person for the job. The priorities I would, if I'm elected trustee, I would work with the new superintendent, or obviously addressing enrollment issues and how do we navigate some complex school finance issues coming our way. Teacher retention, we already talked about it. Ensuring Frisco ISD remains one of the top academic, from an academic excellence point of view, one of the top districts in the school. I think that's the other priority that I'll work with him. Couple of other priorities that are on my list are expanding community partnerships, and I refer to that a little bit. I think there's a ton of potential. It is an untapped potential. Everybody in this room, the community, there's a lot we can do to help our schools, and then strengthening special education programs. I'll talk about it. I think I'm out of time, but when I get a chance, I'll address that in a little bit more detail.
Thank you. In fact, I know how much the effort some of the trustees has put in, on this finding the new superintendent, and the time has went on that, and finally we, narrowed down. So the key priorities when I look at, when we vote the new superintendent, I think the one thing that we want to focus on is how do we keep our enrollment up? I think that is the biggest challenge right now, right, along with the, strengthening the other programs. And key focus area when I look at it, we want to expand the Aspire Frisco. What do you mean by that, right? And we need to make Frisco not only academically excellent, but also workforce ready. We need to engage with the local corporates. Right now, the Aspire program is good, but we have a lot of corporates in the DFW. We want them to affiliate with Frisco ISD, and that is going to be a driver to bring in more enrollments. The program like Access Frisco, if somebody wants from Richardson to drive into Frisco to put their kids in to keep our enrollment problem, we need to make our programs very attractive. And I think I will focus on expanding Access and Aspire program, and especially going into corporate, partnerships there. Thank you.
Okay, before they announced the new superintendent, I had a meeting with him a couple weeks before. And he is super personable, very approachable, very nice man. And I want him to continue to do that, but with the whole community. I want him to be open. I want him to be transparent with the rest of the community, with all the parents, with all the families, with all the teachers. And we really need that right now in Frisco ISD. I also would like to see some help with the enrollment and also the teacher retention, but I feel like the most important would be the open transparency and communication with our families. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I congratulate Dr. Fauci, and he's been with the school district for many, many years. And so he knows every FISD problem from the beginning and until now. One thing I want to reiterate that whatever Dr. Waldrop did a okay job, that's what I can rate him, but I want him to do better than Dr. Waldrop did. And I want to make sure that we don't have to be unbiased, and he has to be unbiased and non-polarized, focus only on education, nothing else. And we have to make sure that all the stakeholders are respected. Students, teachers, taxpayers, and every stakeholders that needs to be addressed, and he has to have an open communication and address to the parents directly, address to every single residents of the Frisco ISD. That is his responsibility. He cannot do any divisive politics, make sure that the people are united, and bring the policy which is more favorable to every person, every residence, every student of the community. And the primary focus has to be education, and how to make sure that our teachers are treated with respect, the parents are treated with respect. That is what we need to expect from them. And
I think we're out of time. Thank you so much. We'll start with audience questions. So thank you all for those who took the time to write out these cards. I have to apologize in advance. These are a lot of cards. So I can't get through all the questions, and we'll be here all night. So we just shuffled them up, random order. So I'll start the first one. The demographics of Frisco ISD continue to evolve. As of fall 2025, 77 languages are represented amongst our district students, and the polarity of students is Asian. If elected, how will you work to ensure that the diverse needs of Frisco ISD students are met? Well, I know this is a long question. Do you want me to go over it again? Yeah. Yes. I'll summarize a little bit. The demographics of FISD have continued to change. 77 languages are spoken amongst the students, and a majority of them are Asian. If elected, how will you work to ensure that the diverse needs of the Frisco ISD students are met?
so right now, we have many language. Many there's the ISD is supporting many languages, like many based on their the nationality or different parts of the world. So they have it. We would like to work with everybody, but we are in the US. We have to make sure that we have a policy which is applicable to all of the students, not just for a few. And we need to respect diversity. At the same time, we need to make sure that the money is spent for the pure education purpose and hire the rightful teachers for them. Because if you keep adding, we'll be very honored to have every diversity people in our community, but still we are in the United States and we want to make sure that the kids learn the English, the critical thinking and problem solving, and those are the skills they need. Make sure that every child gets the same thing. And I want to make sure that we have a uniform curriculum policy for all the campuses. At the same time, you have to have a uniform grading for all of them, so that every student have the same level of success and expectations. Thank you.
The great thing about Frisco, Texas, and its community and its families is the diversity. And I believe that we can all get along somehow, some way, right? But in schools, your focus should be education. And that's what I want to make sure that continues. That's the important part, is we need to make sure that our kids are getting the good quality education, why we all moved here to Frisco. Well, most of us moved here to Frisco, but that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, we all come from diverse background, right? And we have 77 languages. I come from a country which speaks about 32 languages. And I don't see a problem in kids getting together in school. My son moved here at 3 years old, and we have seen kids actually get adapted to the school environment very fast. I don't really see a challenge in integrating them. And we need to make sure, the kids gets the proper induction into the system if required, right? We used to have an ESL kind of programs which strengthen the language skills of those kids so that they can get integrated into them very faster. Education is a key, and we need to teach those kids to get assimilated into this program. Thank you.
Yeah, our mission, is education. I agree with that. Frisco has a whole child model, as a future learner model, and its mission is to know every child by name, right? So I think we continue to do that. Our institutions need to be places of education so that our kids come in and learn and grow, and whether it's college or careers, they get to do that. The other side of that question to me is also making sure our schools are safe spaces, regardless of what race, religion, background you're from, right? And that can be done a number of different ways. One is, I know there's already tools like Stop It and things like that, where if you're bullied or a thing like that, those can be reported. But we have to educate our schools, our staff, our children, our community to make sure any bullying or any discrimination of any nature is not entertained in our schools. But yeah, I agree. I mean, we focus on the mission of our education. We'll continue to update our curriculum as needed if things change around us, and that would be the right strategy.
Thank you. The next question. Studies are showing a decline in test scores over the last few years, while we have seen an increase in the use of technology in school. I feel the absence of books and homework removes parents from the equation. What are your thoughts on technology and parental involvement? And we can start with you, Mooney.
So I am for the traditional way of learning. I want the the traditional way of reading the books, writing, and now we are not doing that. Everything is keypad and doing it. We don't see the students are writing in handwriting. If you look at them, very horrible. Even my daughter has very horrible handwriting. Okay, so we forgot the cursive handwriting. So I want them to go back to the old way of teaching. I mean, at least 70% of them are traditional, using the books. The more focus will be there instead of the screen time. I want to minimize the screen time, and so that is the key priority. I always prefer the traditional way of learning. So with the books, writing, and reading, one-on-one interaction with the teacher and student interaction, rather than just looking at the screen, what is going on this one. So I want to be more interactive classrooms. That is the goal for me.
We know that technology is here, and it's here to stay. And we believe that our children also have to kind of adapt, right? But I believe that there should also be limits, right? Limits where the partnership between the parent and the teacher and the school come to an agreement. And I believe that that's something that is important, and we need to continue to have those limits with our kids. Research shows that too much screen time is not good for the child. So there's other things that we can also use. Not all of our children are visual learners. They're also, they have all kinds of different learnings, and visual is not the only option. Thank you.
When it comes to technology in schools, I think it's every parent's thought, right? I mean, I still remember the day when we got the text ban. I jumped in my home, say, hey, and my teenage daughter hated me, right? So, so fundamentally, the kids need to interact. The kids' social skills, not only they're looking at the screen, they don't learn much. For example, today when I want to read, old days, I used to read my newspaper. And my attention span has gone so down, so terrible, that when I look at my phone, I hardly look at for 15 seconds. So the technology has to be reduced. Definitely at young ages, they need to be staying away from the screens. That's more important. Their social skills. If you look at the kids, because of the screen times, their social skills are coming down. Their athletic ability is reducing. They go out, they play sports. Even I look at in tennis courts sometimes, they're looking at the phones on the sides when they're sitting down. The social skills and everything affects. Technology has to be reduced. Technology should not be you should learn technology to learn technology, but technology should not be the primary medium of educating kids. That's the most important thing, and I stand by that. Thank you.
Seems like a gotcha question to me. I'm not sure who asked, but to me, it's up to the parents. That's my opinion. I don't know how much the school district can do to restrict screen time and things like that, because education is using technology. I mean, everybody's got a Chromebook in FISD, classes are taught there, homeworks are done there, so that's not going to go away. And with advent of AI, I think it's going to change even more. The school district already has some policies around AI and things like that, and will continue to evolve. But to me, things like finding the right balance between screen time and books and homework and playing outside, that's parent choice to me. We have to take care of it. I don't think we want the school district to dictate what you want to do with your children. That's my opinion. We'll find the right balance. I mean, there's a lot of things the school district can do from a policy and guidance perspective, but it's up to us to us as parents to take care of that.
All right. Looking at the time, we're probably down to the last two questions. I'll ask one, Sister Nora, and then we'll go to closing statements. Next one I have, maybe I'll add a little background. The question just says, allocating space for Muslim students who want to pray in school. So as part of our faith, there's scheduled timings for prayer. And I guess the questioner is asking, is there a way we can allocate space for those who, as part of their faith, want to pray at school? Go ahead, Muni, again from the left.
This is one of the toughest questions. Okay. So I can say very fair and simple. So I want to make sure that I am a believer of equal opportunity. Equal treatment for everyone. So it's up to the, it's very tough question here, they're putting it up, right? Yeah. So I would say let's focus on the education, and religion is out of the question in the school. Based on that, okay, we are paying tax dollars to make sure that our kids do the learning, reading, writing, mathematics. Okay, that is my humble thing, and to say that, and so that we can treat every parents and every kids with a different religion background, whatever it is, we will treat them with mutual respect and dignity. Thank you.
We live in America, and we have the freedom of religion, right? And honestly, we just have to respect the classroom. So I believe if parents feel very strongly, they can reach out to the team that's in charge of that with the school district. But for right now, I say let's stay focused on education. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, I believe in every faith. I'm personally a religious person myself. Having said that, I think, the one thing is making accommodations. Like we just mentioned how diverse our school population is, right? 77 different languages. And if you need to start making, without affecting the classroom time, everybody should practice what they should practice. But if somebody is going to take, in between classrooms, if we start making exception, that's going to make it difficult. And I definitely want every faith to respect that, and every kid should, practice what their parents ask them to practice and how to do that. And we should do it within, but within the classroom times, I would prefer they want them to stay in the classroom and learn, and then keep their faith, outside of the classroom times. That's my view. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe in religious expression as well, and I have to do a little bit research on this, but I thought we already allow for that in our classrooms. Maybe not. I have to do some research on that, but as everybody has rights, the kids have rights if they need to pray, as long as they can do it without disrupting the larger classroom structure. I think that's okay. But yeah, I say, let me do some research, let's see where things stand, and we'll come back with the right approach for the larger community.
Thank you. It looks like we are out of time from the audience questions, so we will move forward with the closing statements from each candidate, and we can begin with Sri this time.
I'll do this one. All right. First of all, thank you for ICF for organizing this event, and thank you all for being here. Tonight, we've debated a lot of different topics, obviously enrollment, budgeting, other issues that are affecting our school district. But let's remember what this is all about. This is all about the 60,000 or so students that go to FISD every day, and they're looking at us to make sure we define the right future for them. I'm the one candidate on this stage that brings in-classroom involvement, district advisory experience, and 25 years of leadership experience. Okay, I've worked with our students as a mentor, I've supported our educators, and I served on multiple district committees, helped shaping the priority for our district in the future. And that's what I'll bring to this role on day one as your trustee. And I'll make sure we work together as a community, and we'll address all the problems that are coming our way in the next couple of decades. I'll make sure FISD continues to be one of the best academic districts in our state. Srimaji, I hope I have your vote and support. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving the time today and listening to all of us. There is a lot of questions and it's a very interesting discussions. And I come from the background, as I mentioned, I believe in strong schools that builds a bright futures. And we are at a pivotal moment of Frisco ISD, right? Declining enrollments and then as well as teacher retentions and other challenges. I bring the community leadership. I'm deeply involved in the community, serving the local community for 15 years in various capacities, founded multiple nonprofits. Come from a corporate executive background as well. And I do think we need some diverse skills, with related to, getting creative on teacher retentions, et cetera, and I bring that to the table. And I can assure you one thing, do I have answers to all the questions? Absolutely no, right? But I can assure you one thing, I will not leave any stone unturned. I will make sure as one of the board of trustees to make sure that any challenges that come to us table, bring the best team possible to find a solution. That's me. I believe in working across the aisles. I may agree, but I know how to agree to disagree. And we'll bring the community together. And please, Babu Venkat, Place 5, looking forward to your support. Thank you.
Okay, I am a parent, just like you. I'm a taxpayer, just like you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to stand with you. I'm here to be your voice. Be your voice for your teachers. Be your voice for your students. I'm here to be what you need in this community. My priorities are going to be academic excellence, safe schools, as well as student retention, as well as teacher retention, and transparency. That's what our community needs right now from our schools, is transparency. So my ask is, if I want to be able to be your voice on the Frisco ISD School Board. My name is Misty Wamhoff, Frisco ISD School Board, Place 5. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to us. I'm running against the incumbent, 6 years in the school district right now. So she brought the cultural wars, gender identity, DEI, and the budget deficits for the past 3 years, except last year, the previous year deficits, and the disciplinary issues at the schools. And last year, the $1 billion bond and the tax rate increases. There are so many things on and on. And these are it's very divisive policies they brought into the system. I am here to represent unbiased, non-politicized education for our children. That is the key for my goal. I want to make sure the student comes first, not the politicized things. And I want to bring back balance the budget every year and make sure that without impacting our children. And I want to make sure that we need to bring back the trust into the system. And my opponent, and she lied to the Dallas Morning News, very simple question. All the candidates have filled out the question, whether have they ever been a bankrupt in the previous thing. She said no. 2020, she said no. 2023, she no. So there is no honesty and integrity into the system.
I think you're running out of time.
Okay. Yeah. So this is Muni. I would be supporting make sure that every children succeed in the Frisco ISD. That is my goal. Make sure the tax dollars are wisely spent and responsibly spent on you.
I meant you're out of time. Yes, running. Thanks. Well, thank you to all the FISD candidates. If you have more questions, we didn't get to your questions, please visit their booths in the back. We would like the Frisco City Council candidates to come up. All right, while the candidates are being seated, we do have a coffee shop that's running in the background, and I just got told there's a 10% discount if you mention Sister Sabha. So if you guys want, there's a coffee shop in the back. Feel free to avail yourself. So Sister Sabah, if you mention Sister Sabah, it's a 10% discount at the coffee shop. Use the code. Thanks. I think, Nora, you have the kickoff for this one?
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Yes, perfect. Thank you, candidates, for your attendance. For today's forum, the rules for City Council candidates are as follows. All responses, if I could get everyone to simmer down a little bit. Thank you. All responses are limited to 1 minute. Please see the timer for notice when time's up. Candidates will have opening and closing remarks as well as moderated and audience questions. To submit a question, please complete a postcard with the folks in the back. They are walking around with green baskets. And we can go ahead and begin with opening statements from the candidates, and we can go ahead and start with the left.
I'm being asked, maybe some folks in the back are having difficult time hearing. If we could have the folks be seated or use your library voice if you if you need to talk. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Laura Rummel, and I am currently serving on your city council for the last 4 years. I am also the deputy mayor pro tem here in the city of Frisco. I have lived here for over 20 years. I have been married to my husband, who is my biggest supporter over here, for almost 18 years. Everybody loves Mr. Laura, right? One of the things about being an incumbent, and I am the only one in this election that's running for re-election when it comes to the city. I am the only incumbent rerunning for the city. So the good thing about being in that position is I have a record that you can judge me on. I have a record of fiscal responsibility, of moving Frisco forward in innovative ways, and also being proactive with our community engagements, as well as some of the things that matter, like our parks, and one of my personal passions, our pets. And I think he's holding the sign, so I'm going to go ahead, and I saw the fingers move. I'll pass it along.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks to ICF for hosting the event. I'm Vijay Karthik, running for Frisco City Council Place 5. My wife, Kelly, and I and the kids have been in Frisco for 10 years. We raised our twins in Frisco ISD. They are juniors in UTD now. And Frisco is home for us. I'm a global executive, 30 years experience in the industry. Most recently, I was a global chief technology officer for Procter & Gamble. Before that, I was the global chief technology officer for Neiman Marcus. I also hold the patent for in-flight Wi-Fi. I've managed over $1 billion in budgets in total and led thousands of employees. Here's my platform. Transparent leadership. I built my career around integrity and servant leadership. That's exactly what I'll bring to the table. Vote for me.
Good evening, everyone. This is Srikanth Reddy. Thank you, ICF, for inviting us today. So, friends, I've been living in Frisco since almost 13 years. So I have one daughter. She got her education from Frisco ISD, and she's into college. So Frisco is at a turning point. So we need smart growth, which is not a rushed one, and we need transparency, that all information is being shared with every person in the city. Public safety, that's very important, where the fire and police are given appropriate, proper facilities and everything that they are needing. And so I am here today in front of you to make sure my candidature is really good for you all. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for ICF for hosting this meet and greet, and thank you for the invitation. We really appreciate it. My name is Sai Krishna. I've been married for 21 years, and we are living in Frisco for almost 9 years, and my kids are in Frisco ISD. I've been running, this is the sixth time I'm running. I started with the place 6, and I'm ending in the place 6. Definitely, with all your support. Why I'm running, some people are asking, why you keep losing and why you're asking. No, I have been running and it has been a consistent. You are not seen. I started with 1,200 votes. Today I'm standing in front of you with the 3,000 votes. So that's a big change I brought into the community. Why? Because my ideas are great, but opportunity. You need to give a break for incumbents. You need to give a chance for the new people what they can bring onto the table. So I'm telling you, there is a lack of transparency in the city, lack of citizens' engagement in the city, and thank you. I'm going to talk later. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Brittany Kohlberg. I'm running for Frisco City Council, place 6. We have lived in Frisco for 26 years. My amazing husband, who's also my campaign manager, that's fun. We are about to celebrate 25 years of marriage. We've raised our kids here. This has been such a special place to live. I have served and worked in Frisco. For the last 8 years, I've served as a planning and zoning commissioner. This last year, I have been elected by my peers to serve as the chairwoman, and I have learned on that board that leadership listens. In my day job, I'm a vice president, branch manager, and escrow officer at a title insurance company. I many times joke and say it looks like herding cats and spinning plates, but practically what I'm doing is taking buyers and sellers, attorneys and lenders, and putting everything together to get us through the finish line in a calm and right way. That's the leadership I want to bring to Frisco. Calm, experienced, and make sure that we end Frisco right. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Hello, beautiful people of Frisco, Texas. I really enjoyed my time here last year. Last year was the first time I've ever run for anything, any office of any sort, and this was the first candidate forum that I did. And after the forum, a man walked up to me and said, "I'm going to vote for you." And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And I thought, why? Who am I? Anyway, my wife and I have been in Frisco for 22 years. We live in Plantation Resort. We have a mixed group of grandkids, one great-grandson. I've always wanted to run for office, for a political office, as I said last year. And I had so much fun last year, I thought I would do it again this year. This is, all right.
Thank you for keeping us honest with the time. Let's see. The first question I have is, Frisco continues to grow rapidly, right? How do you balance the continued development of the city with maintaining the quality of life for our current residents? So it's a general question, covers traffic, the new park, all these things, but yeah.
All in 1 minute?
Yes, please. So because 6 candidates, maybe we start with Laura right here.
Yeah, that's a lot to cover in 1 minute. So a couple of things that we have to consider is, number one, residential is going to grow no matter what we do. For a while, we were having 1,000 people move to Frisco every single month. So our job is to work on making sure we have the natural resources to support that. You want clean water when you turn on your water faucet. You want electricity to work when it's happening. We need to work with our partners through the municipal, North Texas Municipal Water District, as well as our electric partners, to ensure that those core city services are happening. That's everything everything from picking up your trash, and I'll shamelessly plug even all the way down to your animal services and animal control. We are constantly working on traffic. If you've moved from a big city and you come to Frisco, you don't think traffic's that bad. But if you've been here for any amount of time, you feel like traffic is painful. And we are going to, thanks to you guys, 4 years ago, you approved a huge bond for roads. So while we were previously being very retroactive in our major roads, we were able to get proactive. That's why you see so much construction going on right now. There's a lot more to that question. Come talk to me after.
Frisco is 87% built out, 13% to be built. It's spoken for, already zoned. We got to be extremely smart about it. We got to attract top big companies, employers to contribute to the tax base. Frisco is sitting on a $1.1 billion debt. Debt is perfectly fine for cities, but we can't continue to accumulate more debt. We got to bring big companies to pay for the debt. Thank you.
So Frisco, as I told before, is at a turning point. So the traffic, the public safety, and the congestions that's going to happen in Frisco is just because of the growth that is happening at the moment. So what plan we do have for the future, that's very important. So as the apartments are growing, then the traffic is growing. Though the public safety is also at stake at the moment in that case. So we need to make sure that the public safety, the security, and the smart growth is not happening with the rush. So we need to make sure that we have Frisco that is Frisco. Thank you.
Hello, yeah. Right now, we are lacking with transparency in the city. We have getting a tremendous tax returns to the city. City is growing. At the same time, the tax is also going, if you look at it. So what are we doing? Why is it happening? Why are we not changing the residential tax towards the commercial tax? Anyhow, they are going to write off on their tax papers, all the commercial taxes. So we should increase the commercial-based tax versus the residential-based taxes. That's a key first. Second thing, we are inviting all the employers. Where is the workforce in our city? Our youths are staying, like either going into the restaurant and working in a bar and restaurant, or flying out of the city, whoever can afford, the families which can afford, they are going outside. Why don't we create a workforce pipeline in the city, bringing a teaching hospital, or couple more universities which are, give me 30 seconds, which are aligned to the modern trend, technology, and educate our kids and land them up on a high-paid jobs.
I don't know if we can afford 30 seconds extra per, because it'll get bad really fast. So thank you so much.
So we are at a pivotal point in Frisco. We have 13% undeveloped land left, and we need to be super strategic and picky about what developments we say yes to, what developments we give incentives to. We need to make sure what we say yes to are high-paying jobs, corporations that are going to come here that are going to help support that tax base. But we're also at a unique position where we need to make sure that we are maintaining what we've already built so our city does not fade. We need to be super strategic about reinvesting in what we have, what has made Frisco special, and making our neighborhoods thrive. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question was, Frisco continues to grow rapidly. How would you balance continued development with maintaining quality, the quality of life for the current residents?
Well, I think it's going to be a team effort. I don't think I can do it alone. I'll be working with the other council members. I'll be working with city staff, the city manager, interested citizens. For me, the key is balance. I think we have gone overboard with the tourism and sports part of the local economy. I think we need to shift to technology, 21st century technology, those sorts of things, and just keep moving forward. Follow the 2040 comprehensive plan. But again, I think the key really is balance and shifting away from an economy that's based on tourism. If the economy goes soft nationally, the first thing that's going to suffer is a tourism-based economy.
Thank you. The next question is going to be, city budgets require balancing investments with fiscal responsibility. What would be your top spending priorities, and where do you see opportunities to manage or reduce costs? And we can begin with you. Yes. City budgets require balancing investments with fiscal responsibility. What would be your top spending priorities, and where do you see opportunities to manage or reduce costs?
It's really not what my priorities are. The budget is pretty much fixed because half of the budget goes to police and fire. So we're really very limited in the amount of wiggle room that we have with the budget. You know, it's going to be the basics. It's going to be police and fire. It's going to be infrastructure, those sorts of things. We're not going to have a lot of money for luxuries and so forth and so on.
Didn't want to trip on that. That would be fun. The most important thing we need to make sure we're doing is cut out any sort of wasteful spending. We need to have a good eye on the budget, be very responsible with it to protect the taxpayers. I also want to make sure that we are competitive in our pay for our first responders. A safe city is the #1 priority. So I think it's very important to make sure that we are taking care of those who keep us safe always. Thank you.
Lacking on budget and giving an excuses to have enough police officers or a fire department is a joke. I'll tell you honestly. We have enough surplus budget in the Frisco. How many people in this room know or got an idea about how much commercial tax like we are getting it to city? Anybody? Annually? $200 million. Where is that money going? We are getting audited our books with whatever $304.7 million budget. That's okay with me. It's audited. But did anybody check with commercial tax what we are getting? Like the funds which goes to EDC and CDC is audited. Does anybody know who did they give money and how much did they give money and what is the revenue we are getting from it? Any performance reports? No, but Google knows. But AI knows. We don't know that. If you pull it, you'll see the numbers. How much we spend and what is the benefit we are getting it from. Thank you.
I'm good. So one thing is smart growth. So we need to follow, use artificial intelligence and the data points to make sure we save a little. And the unplanned growth is the one thing that will really troubling us. So these big corporate giants that are coming, are they being invited without having the infrastructure? And are they really coming in and putting their industry here or the whatever industry that we are inviting? So I don't think the growth is happening intentionally, but it is happening by default. So we must make sure the growth is happening intentionally. Thank you so much.
Can you repeat the question, please? Ma'am?
What would your top spending priorities be, and where do you see opportunities to manage or reduce costs?
Okay. top spending priorities are no compromise or public safety is absolutely no compromise. First responders, no compromise. Infrastructure, no compromise. This is not corporate world. You can't go and just trim the budget just like that. So no compromise on public safety infrastructure. Where can we optimize and get better? Look at all the contracts we sign as a city. Renegotiate the contracts. I mean, there is so much of money that we can be saving by just renegotiating all the contracts, right? And then look at low-hanging fruits and trim them out. Thank you.
So quickly before I get into mine, I do want to correct something that was said, is that number one, it is public knowledge as to from an EDC and the value of it. For every dollar that EDC spends, the city gets a return at $3.44. So every dollar that we're putting into the businesses to incentivize them to come here, we as a community are getting $3.44 back. And yes, those are audited as well. I'm chair of our budget and audit committee, and so there's a couple things that I know that are going to help us. And the first thing is for us to bring in more business commercial property taxes. And the value of that is this. Our goal is to make it 50-50. If we can bring 50% of the value, not necessarily the footprint, but the value, that means that a lot of the businesses are contributing to the same stuff like our parks, like our public safety, like our infrastructure, but that helps us to offset what we're charging our residents. So for example, that's what's enabled us to be able to move the homestead exemption from 10 to 20% since I've been on council. And that has been you may have seen a reduction in your taxes actually this year because of that.
Thank you. On to the next question, but before starting, you're making my job a little easier. I only had a couple of questions this time compared to the stack that I had for the FISD. But if we didn't get you, the folks with the green box that are walking around, feel free to fill out cards for questions. On to the next one. Many families, young professionals are finding it increasingly difficult to afford housing in Frisco. What role should the city play in addressing housing affordability?
You starting with me?
Yeah, Laura,
Okay.
we can start with you.
Okay, so it was actually mentioned earlier that FISD is losing students, and part of that is because the students are aging out. The young families are not moving here as much because it's harder for them to move into Frisco at the price per square foot that we have. So we're not going to subsidize residential developers. That's just not something we do. However, what we have been able to do is we have been able to have conversations with the developers. For example, something like multifamily rights that are outstanding from decades ago. We've been able to move those into things like townhomes. That's a first-time buyer opportunity, not just for our singles and our young people, but also they're great options for our seniors as well that want low maintenance. We've looked at doing things, again, moving them into condos that are bigger footprints, things that can help additional first-time buyer opportunities without getting into the houses. Once people start getting into the housing market, whatever size it is, they're building equity, they're building ownership. And most of our houses in Frisco have gone up over time. So once they've built that, that's going to help them get into the next house, into the next house, and the next house.
So affordability is not a one-size-fits-all t-shirt, right? Frisco is spoken for, 13% of land left. The future use plan already states exactly what needs to be built out. There's no new apartments going to be built out over there, right? I think what Frisco needs to do is look at what I call as the missing middle. Missing middle is basically in between the apartments and 700K homes. There's a big gap where my kids, your grandkids, when they come back, they can't find homes. We got to focus on building those missing middle homes. That can happen only when we do start redevelopment of older infrastructure and commercial properties. Thank you.
So when you speak about the unaffordable growth, so when you take my home, the home that I bought was half, but it went up more than $1 million, but again it fell back. Now actually the rates are decreasing. The rates that went up again came back. So property tax relief is one thing that helps. So that if you shift the property tax to commercial tax base, that is going to help. and more employees, more companies needs to get in, so that, Frisco need not be a bedroom city, so that, just all the residents stay here and big companies are outside Frisco. So we need to bring big companies so that, more employment is there. Right now the employment even is really bad. So for that, to afford that, we need more employment and more companies coming in. Fortune 500 companies, I don't think there are many in Frisco. Thank you.
City has almost developed now. Now we are thinking about affordable housing. It is very difficult. It has been messed up already. So I'll tell you, this is a lack of vision. We are not thinking about next 30, 50 years. We are thinking about short term. This is a great example what you brought up about the affordability houses. Because generations are not going to stay here like how it was in previous. Kids going out to study somewhere, and the employers will pick them up and they are going to make their house somewhere else. We made our Frisco as our house, but that dream is not going to happen. When the kids are living in some other state, right now what is happening? They are coming for a Thanksgiving and Christmas, and next we are going to go there. We are not going to stay here with increasing tax. The problem is the appraisal board has to be elected by the residents. This is where the key issue is. Unnecessary prices are going up, but we are living in the house, we are not selling the house to pay more taxes.
The number one thing we need to make sure we are doing is attracting high quality jobs through our corporations that we're recruiting to our city. Number two, I think it's important to make sure that we are challenging developers to create a product that the word affordable housing doesn't seem like our standards are low. Our first responders, our teachers, our first-time homebuyers deserve high-quality standards. And we need to be challenging builders and developers to find that solution so that they can walk into a home and the quality is high. Thank you.
Well, I think I heard two pretty good answers from Laura and from Brittany. I would add to what they said. I would say build, build, build. The problem is we have a shortage of supply. There's all sorts of demand to come to Frisco to live, but what we need to do is increase the supply, and I liked what Laura said, and I liked what Brittany had to say.
Thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and begin with the audience questions. As Frisco grows, different types of developments, such as residential areas and industrial spaces, are sometimes located near each other. How would you approach planning and zoning decisions to balance these needs while protecting residents' quality of life?
I just wanted to add, we're running low on time a little bit, and so the offer was made, if you guys want to answer that question, right, just raise your hand, rather than having everybody answer the same question multiple times. So folks that want to answer, I guess if all the hands are going to go up, then it's, yeah, either way. We thought we'd give it a shot. Go ahead.
Finished talking. Somebody else talk.
Sure, I'll go for that one because we had that just recently. So one misconception with City Council is that we can override existing zoning that is over a property owner's wish. We cannot do that, not without getting sued, and in the state of Texas, we would lose. Okay. So one of the things that we have to look at is when we're looking at zoning, we have to understand what is in the surrounding area and what concessions can we make that makes the most sense. When we are considering zoning changes, we have to be very thoughtful about what that looks like. We did just have a property just recently where it was industrial and commercial, and it was right off of 121, and on the back side of that property is going to be a 6-lane road, and then there's a residential on the other side of that. What we did is we made sure that there was an entire football field away from the neighborhood before the buildings start for that are going to be on the highway. We also made sure that there is a 10-acre park that is in between that neighborhood and that facility. And thankfully, the developer was willing to work with us to make sure that we got concessions that were good for the neighborhood. It's not always perfect, but we try.
So I call it burden of proof. So the burden of proof usually sits on the homeowners to prove that a developer building a warehouse or an industrial complex is going to cause harm to the residents. We need to flip it around. If I'm a developer and I'm going to build a warehouse next to, say, Richwoods, I need to prove to the residents that I'm not causing a harm to them by deploying certain things in terms of like a buffer zone, retaining walls, noise canceling trees, or whatever it is. And the second one is when somebody buys a property, they buy the property because it's zoned for certain things, right? So as a city council, you just can't go unzone it because, like she said, we'll get sued to unzone it, right? So we got to take all the measures that we can to make sure that we protect the interest of the residents and the builder, both.
So friends, on the zoning, there are n number of issues that we are facing. So the one that happening is near Richwoods, on the south side of Richwoods, which we were discussing at the moment, SUP 25. Such kind of things should not prop up and disturb the residents who are staying there. Now every resident in Richwoods are really troubled. They are really thinking whether to stay here or not, because the safety and security on the south side of Frisco, Richwoods, is an issue, is a big issue. So zoning, about 20 years back, the zoning was done on that zone, SUP 250009, and even the residents did not know what was happening. That is the transparency that we have. So there is no transparency, and only few HOA board members knew that, even not all of them. So, and they didn't give a chance for everyone to respond, and community input was very, they did not even give an opportunity to others to speak. Thank you.
It's the same concept. So, I respect landowners' rights. There is no second word on it. In 1993, this land was approved for 28.6 acres was approved for a warehouse. I agree with that. Why all of a sudden 80 acres was approved from planning and zoning and the city? That's my question. And 2,000 signatures through the change.org went to the city, and we all went and spoke. Within a minute, boom, went to garbage. Is that the way we run a city or a business? Is that the way the residents are considered, tossing into the garbage? No. City still had a time to negotiate with the developers, talk to developers, but it didn't happen. They said, go to Richards, talk to people, and threatening. It was so funny. If anybody has watched that video, mayor sitting and telling that, okay, this is going to happen, we are going to put apartments. So if they are going to put apartments, why do they have to sit on the dais there? Right? They are not protecting the city. So think about it. I'm sorry.
Property rights absolutely have to be protected. Number two, we need leadership that is steady, knowledgeable, and communicative. It is super important to me to make sure our residents feel that their voice is heard and that they also understand the process. I would love to encourage more proactive communication with our residents so that everybody feels that they understand the case in front of them and have the right information to help block out the misinformation out there. Your voice matters, and it's important for you to feel confident in the experienced leadership that you vote on council. Thank you.
Well, I think in general, zoning is kind of like opening a big can of worms. There's all this back and forth going on, bargaining going on, and it just creates an atmosphere of, you know, whoever has the biggest wallet gets what they want. I'm not saying that's happening in Frisco. I think Frisco, the city of Frisco has done a good job. We have processes in place. I think the city has, for the most part, followed those processes, done a good job. I think the city of Frisco has done an excellent job, but the whole process sometimes looks like it's just dealing back and forth, and whoever makes the best deal gets the deal.
All right, thank you. You do see some folks leaving. It is a prayer time, so there's a little bit of a break. And how we've structured this is there's refreshments in the back. So we'll be, for some of the audience members, they'll be back. We'll do one more question when we come back after this break, and then closing statements, and then move it from there. So just give us 10 minutes or so, and we'll be back. If we could get a little bit of attention to the candidates here, maybe we could just give them all a round of applause for coming back up. Thank you, everyone. Cool. And if you're still talking over the round of applause, may I ask if we could do our library voice again so we can hear the candidates? And thank you all for coming back. All right, so I only had one more question, and then we'll go to closing statements. Another clarification I wanted to make was that the 3 chairs on the left, they're the ones competing against each other for place 5, and the 3 chairs on the my further left are place 6. So not all the candidates are competing against each other. It's the 3 on the left here, and the next 3 on my further left. So just wanted to clarify place 5 and place 6. All right. Still getting questions about, comments about it's hard to hear. So if we could, please take a seat and quiet down a bit. All right. The next question I have is, and we really only have time for one more question before we get to the mayoral, before you get to the closing statements and then the mayoral candidates. What are your plans and strategy to counter divisive politics? We're seeing, Islamophobia that seeks to turn neighbor against neighbor in Frisco, and what are your thoughts on countering that? Laura, if you could start again.
Yeah, this one is very real for us right now, isn't it? So one of the first things that we can do as council is be the leaders. So as you may or may not have seen, but every single one of the council members put out a statement and said, this is not something that we believe is our Frisco. This is not something that we think is of our community. We are a community that has been welcoming of all religions, cultures. We have worked to celebrate them together. No matter what religion or background you are, you've probably seen me at an event. You've seen your city council at events. We are very much ingrained in a community and wanting to make sure that you feel welcome, you feel safe. And we will continue to support that. One of the main examples is when there was intense rhetoric that was going on, is the only word I can think to use for that, during Ramadan. And so we helped to bring additional police and made sure that patrols were happening nearby. It's that type of things that if there's a threat, we are going to take care of it. And we will continue to do that no matter what.
Frisco is one of the safest cities in America. It is safe because of people like you. It is safe because of the diverse people that live here. As your next council member, I will ensure to protect your rights. And remember, there's only one law, which is the US Constitution and American law. That's pretty much it, right? There's no room for hatred in Frisco. We will do whatever we can as council members to protect our neighbors, our family members, our friends, our community, and we'll uphold the value for Frisco. Thank you.
So, United States being one of the biggest democracies, all faiths under the Constitution are equal. And that's what the goal is, and that will be implemented. And our present leadership is really good. They established past 10 years on the equality side. They did a great job. And this should continue. I would definitely follow the same rules and follow the Constitution and rule of law and continue. Thank you.
I think in a broader spectrum that the root work, root cause, we know the root cause now. The work has to be done at the subdivision level. In every subdivision level, we have to have meetings coordinating every people. I know that there is a lot of HOAs, so we have to coordinate with the HOA and continue having a meeting, festivals together, celebrating the festivals together. See, at the bottom line, we are all forgetting that we are humans. We are crossing our lines and we are talking about something. Is anybody's blood is black or blue here? No. If you get a cut, we all see the red blood, right? We are all carrying the same blood. I don't know why we have a differences. Even though if you have a differences, we can resolve that with the dialogues. So that is where we are all we are in a comfort zone. We are not coming out, and we are not understanding the religion, or we are not making an attempt to understand another religion, and we are just like fighting for it. I'm really sorry, but we can fix the issues by coordinating in the subdivision level.
Every Frisco resident deserves to feel safe and welcome. I think it's super important that we make sure our city is a community that stands strong together. The number one way that we can do that is get out from behind the screen and meet face to face and have real conversations. I was invited to one of those conversations earlier this week where someone was very transparent and said, ask me your questions. Let's talk it through. That right there, when we get in front of someone and can lay everything out, that's where relationship happens, that's where trust happens, and that's where we can be strong together as a community. Thank you.
If I understood the question right, I believe he said, how do we conquer hate? Well, I grew up during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, and I sort of try to follow the words of one of the leaders of that movement, and he said, judge others by the content of their character and not by what they look like. And I think if we could do that, we would be much more successful at living together.
We can proceed with the closing statements. Oh, sorry. We can proceed with the mayoral portion.
No, it's closing statements first.
Okay.
They're just looking where should we start, and
Oh,
I'll start.
guys, my head is
yes,
not there today.
maybe yes. There you go.
Again, my name is Brittany Kohlberg. I'm running for Frisco City Council, Place 6. Frisco is such a special place. We need to protect what works and also be very strategic with being future ready. We need to make sure that we are putting people above politics, that our public safety is first and foremost a priority, and we need to make sure that we are protecting our budget and handling responsible spending to protect our taxpayers. We need to make sure that our residents feel that their voice matters, that you all are invited to this process, and together we will continue to thrive as a city, and Frisco will keep shining. I look forward to your vote and your support. Brittany Kohlberg, Frisco City Council, Place 6.
Vijay Karthik, Frisco City Council, Place 5. I want to be clear. I have refused any and all donation from developers, PACs, and special interest groups. They come knocking on my door. I said no. My campaign is primarily self-funded and with some support from some of you guys over here in this room. Here's what I'm going to do. Restore transparency at the City Hall. Work sessions needs to be televised. Right now, you got to be at the work session in person at 3 o'clock to attend it. Number 2, EDCs, CDCs need to be televised. They're not televised. The big thing that bothers me is all these folks on the boards and commissions, right? There is all the ties to projects across the city that has to end. Number 3, residents elect us to hear you guys. I will never silence you guys. I'll make sure that you get your 5 minutes to speak.
So Frisco is one of the safest cities, so we need to keep it that way, and should not take anything for granted. And I am for prosperity of Frisco. I mean, we need leadership that plans ahead, listens to the residents, and protect our homeowners. I'm totally committed to that. Thank you.
I'm Sai Krishna. Tonight, my humble request is, give me one opportunity. I am fighting. I am a fighter. And I'm going to bring the transparency in this city. And I'm going to make sure that citizens' engagement happens in the city hall. And also I want to tell this, I want to bring the taxes down, lower the taxes, means like support, move the taxes from residential to commercial-based taxes, because they are going to write off the taxes in the tax when they file the taxes. So we can definitely have a room there, so we can work on that. We have a surplus budget coming, revenue coming into the city. And I also want to focus on the next generation youths in the city, like our kids. So we want to have them here, work here and live here and take care of us here in the city. So Sai Krishna, place 6. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll go next. Well, thank you guys very much for spending your Friday night with us to learn a little bit more about your political candidates. As said before, I'm Laura Rummel. I am running for re-election to Frisco City Council, Place 5. And because I am running for re-election, I hope you judge me by my record. I have been able to serve you, and I have been able to vote for things that you can check. I'm also known as being one of the most responsive city council members. So if you have a question, reach out. I will help you find it. Some of the stuff that was talked about with zoning, for example. Did you know we have a public website that tells you every single zone for every single piece of property in the entire city? That's one of about 40 different public interactive maps that we have and different pieces of information. So if you want to know something, reach out to your city council members. That's why we're in the community. That's why we're very involved. So you know us, and you don't have to hesitate to reach out to us. Again, Laura Rummel, running for re-election, Place 5. Thank you.
I kind of think that modesty is very important, and I don't think that I'm really any more qualified than, or any less qualified than anyone sitting in the audience. I'm a citizen, I'm a taxpayer, I learn, I live, I learn, and everyone in this audience can do this very same thing. No one on the stage is more or less qualified than I am. I'm just as qualified as anyone up here. But again, you know, modesty is very important.
All right, with that, thank you to all the candidates. Another round of applause, please. And if we didn't get to your question, please feel free to visit their booths and ask them directly. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. She started a trend. Now she has everybody. Thank you. You're good. Thanks. All right. Thank you. Nice meeting you. All right. If we could have the mayor candidates come up to the stage, please. All right, I think all the mics are working. Thank you to all the candidates that joined us today. Thank you for being here. The rules are slightly different for the mayoral candidates. They do have 2 minutes for opening and closing statements. All right, so an extra minute for their opening and closing, but the questions are still 1 minute apiece. So let's begin with the opening statements. I stole your line, Laura. I think you're supposed to, but may we start with you?
Sure. Well, good evening. I am John Keating, and I'm running to be your next mayor of Frisco. I'm a 25-year resident, and I've spent the last 15 years serving you on your Frisco City Council. Also have 13 years in the U.S. Army. I'm a combat veteran of Operation Desert Storm, and got the best leadership training in the world from the Army, and have translated that into my work here in Frisco. We have an amazing world-class city here. My vision is to keep it that way, to make it the #1 city in America, the place where you want to raise a family, start a business, raise an athlete, and set your dreams where they can come alive and you can feel safe and welcome and included. That means keeping your money in your pocket where it belongs, keeping our tax rate low and competitive, finding new ways to attract business here so we do have a full life cycle city where kids can grow up, go to school, get a job, and continue to work and live and play here in Frisco. It's an amazing community. I'm proud to have been a member of it and part of the leadership team here, and look forward to serving you as your next mayor. Thank you.
Can I just clarify? You're the timer, and all you're holding up is when we're at the end. Okay. Just wanted to clarify. Good evening. My name is Shauna Sal, and I'm running to be the mayor of Frisco. I moved to Frisco in 2003. My husband and I are a proud blended family with 5 grown adult children. The last one is about to graduate from college here in the next couple of weeks, and we are very excited about that. I had the privilege of serving on your city council from 2016 to 2022. I stepped back in 2022 because I was diagnosed with breast cancer and chose to go fight that for a while instead. And now I'm back to serve my city again. When I served on Frisco City Council, I was the mayor pro tem, the deputy mayor pro tem. I served as the chair of your legislative committee. I served as the chair of your governance committee, and I served on the budget and audit committee. I've been at the table for the complex negotiations, like bringing the PGA to here in Frisco. But I've also worked really hard for smaller neighborhood projects, like getting stoplights outside of neighborhoods to make sure that they were safe for the residents. At this point, it's important that we are bringing all of those things for the table because our city is now a grown-up adult city with complex issues. I've professionally worked with executives and been at the table making those decisions, and I've also been an advocate for the small business community. My vision for Frisco is this. It's the same thing that most, I think, residents have. We want safe neighborhoods, a place to raise our family, and we also want a place for us to be when our kids grow up and leave. We want to make sure that as we go into our further years that we've got a great place to still exist within our communities. We want our businesses to thrive. We want to make sure that businesses can come here and grow from small businesses all the way up through the corporate partners. Those are the things that we're all looking for. Frisco residents are smart, they're educated, they're community focused, and they want to make sure that they have a seat at the table when it comes to the decisions for their community. And that's what I bring to the table. One of the most important things that we can do is keep our families safe, and that's why I'm proud to be supported by both the Frisco Fire Association and the Frisco Police Officers Association.
My name is Mark Hill, and I want to start by talking about 3 things in this city that benefit everybody in this room. Number 1, a balanced taxpayer-based budget, 3 times the size of the city of Frisco's. Number 2, a consensus to employ and bring in marshals, commissioned safety officers, in every elementary school. Number 3, an A rating and a top 2% recognition statewide. So I ask you with those three things, what does leadership really mean to you? All three of those things are things we accomplished in Frisco ISD over the last year while I served as its president. Okay, leadership is impacting your lives. Okay, I am the only candidate that is the parent of a current student in Frisco. I am the only candidate that is a business owner in the city of Frisco right now. Different times in this city require different leadership. We are a big, diverse city right now. We are a city with a bunch of different ethnicities, political ideologies, age demographics. It requires leadership and someone that can come together into a room and bring different-minded people together. It's called consensus building, and that's what I have done over the last year or two on Frisco ISD. We have accomplished very difficult things, things that people don't always agree with, to improve the lives in this city. I believe this city is ready for a positive change. It's ready for someone that doesn't have years of political experience, but years of actual business and experience being a parent right here, right now. That's what I offer. I've been endorsed by former Mayor Mike Simpson, and I look forward to this forum. Thank you.
Thank you. I got a really good suggestion from one of the previous candidates that instead of starting from left to right or right to left every time, maybe we mix it up. So that way, people get time to sort of correct. So next question, maybe we start with Shauna, all right? So the question, I scrolled past my question here. If elected, what would be your top priorities in the first 90 days in office and why?
In 90 seconds.
1 minute, please, not 90 seconds.
Well, we can try. The number one priority is always public safety, and that's because if we don't get that right, nothing else will matter. The businesses won't matter, the neighborhoods won't matter, so the number one thing that we need to always focus on is public safety. And part of why I do that is we've got specific strategies that we want to employ in that process. One is with our police officers, making sure that our salaries for our veteran officers are competitive with the communities around us so that we're not losing those officers. We're giving them reasons to stay here in Frisco once we've trained them. The other thing that we're talking about, and it's going to take some time to get us pushed there, but we actually need to start focusing very quickly on it, is when it comes to our fire department doing 4-person crews on our ladder trucks. And the reason is because the National Fire Prevention Association standard says that that's what you need to appropriately fight fires to go forward. And that's what we're losing some of our grants to, is because we don't have that done. So those are two things that we're specifically going to work for. In the first 90 days, it's going to be very tricky to get some of that going, but I will tell you, because the budget's going on at that time, that's going to be some of the first focus as we find a way to make some of those things happen.
Well, the first 90 days are critical, and having served 15 years on your Frisco City Council and having the leadership experience is critical. We're not running for school board, we're running for the mayor of Frisco. And that first 90 days is going to be critical to rally your council together, to cast that vision, to set those goals, to get the work done, to keep that tax rate low, to make sure traffic is flowing, that the infrastructure is being addressed, and that public safety remains job number one in a city like Frisco. We have an incredible track record here, but if we're not all rowing in the same direction, as a council, under the mayor's leadership, working with our city staff, working with our city manager, our first responders, our police and fire, and most importantly, with our citizens, then we're just going to keep getting stuck. We're just going to keep getting stalled. Politics is one thing, getting elected is great, but you have to make that shift over to governance. You have to be able to bring everyone together, the community, the council, the staff, to make that city work, that shining city on the hill called Frisco. Thank you.
Well, first of all, running for school board is very important. We have some trustees in this room that I'm sure just loved that statement, and some parents. I want to say the first 90 days that I will tackle is the decorum on council. Without decorum and professionalism on council, you don't get any local governance done. And so if you have attended council meetings over the last few months, I apologize. But the first thing you need to do is get back to getting down to the business of what you want and what you need. There's issues of safety. There's issues of infrastructure. There's tax and budget issues. None of that's accomplished when there's constant conflict and there's lack of decorum on council. So we will accomplish a lot over the next 3 years. In the first 90 days, the first thing is to build the trust of council members that don't always agree. You don't accomplish that by electing people from different camps that create division right away. Very important to the mayor role. That's the first 90 days.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Nora, I think, has the next question. Maybe we'll start with John.
Perfect. How do you ensure that campaign contributions, including those from outside of the city, do not influence your decisions as an elected official?
The campaigns are very expensive. I've run several of them since 2010. I'm probably out over $200,000 in my own personal contributions to campaigns. So the money coming in is very helpful. Obviously, we're very mindful of where it comes from and who's donating, and there are certainly rules in place that we follow and adhere to closely. And all of our CFRs, our campaign finance reports, are online. You can go online and look at every single one of my reports going all the way back to 2010. And that's where we practice transparency, and that's where you can ask questions about any of my donations or about anybody else's. We're limited to receiving those donations from individuals and from sole proprietor LLCs, not from corporations. There is no limit to the amount that you can receive. Typically, we send a mailer out asking for $25, $50, or $100. Certainly hope to get more than that. I've been blessed to have some very generous donors and have had a lot of great success with my campaigns. Thank you.
What was the question one more time?
Gotta find my place. How do you ensure that campaign contributions, including those from outside of the city, do not influence your decisions as an elected official?
So I think one of the ways you do that is when you have meetings with your donors. And one thing I have found, and I've only been in politics for about 2 years, okay, 2.5 years. One thing I have found is that people like to become invested in their candidate, and it gives them some feeling of commitment and involvement. And so one of the things you talk about is what's important to you? What is important to your donor? A lot of times, I come from a business background, and so a lot of my donors just know that I will stand up into a room and I will be principled. I will stand up in a room and I will listen to people, and one thing I've talked about while I've been a trustee is to newer trustees is I say, I just need one commitment from you. Can you be persuadable? I can be persuadable. Can you be persuadable? Can you be open-minded? And so people value that. That gets people to donate into your campaign, whether they're from Frisco or from outside of Frisco. I think that's a very important quality to have.
I am very proud to say that most of my donations, in fact, I would say 90% of my donations come from residents. They come from family members, they come from friends, they come from people who've supported me over the decade that I've served. I think it's really difficult to say that if you're having a conversation with a donor and that donor, you're asking that donor, what do you want? What do you want to see? What do you want from this? Then you're starting that conversation off with kind of a quid pro quo, whether you think it is or not. My conversations with donors are very clear. This comes with no attachment. This comes with nothing that I can promise you. And if this is where you're headed, this is a donation that you should take a different direction and give to someone else. And I think the size of those donations do matter. Because when they get over the numbers of 10,000, yes, these campaigns are expensive, but when you get over the donations of 10,000 and 15,000, it becomes very difficult to tell that person no when they come and ask you for something. So I am very proud to say that of the $130,000 I've raised, which isn't enough to carry on the rest of this campaign, will be self-funding, it's all coming in small donations from the residents.
Thank you. Did you get a chance? I'm forgetting my place. Did everybody get a chance to go? Yes, all right, cool. After the next question, and we'll start with Mark. Why do you want to be mayor? What makes you the better candidate?
That's a great question. So when I sat down with my wife and we talked about making this kind of a commitment, the issues kind of revolved around, one, do you think you can help? Do you think you can help? Do you think you can bring some positive change to bring some people together? And number two, do you believe in the institution? Do you believe in the success of this city? And once we decided on those two things, then it became a situation where we need some fresh new leadership in this city, not just at the mayoral level, but at the council level, but most importantly, at the committee level. The only way you achieve that is you elect new people that can bring up new voices and new leaders, okay? That's got to be a priority in this city, especially as we grow over the next 3 to 6 years, and that's what motivated me to run.
One of the things that my opponent said was having a child in the district and that investment in the community. And having 4 that have gone through the school district, I feel very invested in this community. Having served for 10 years prior, I feel very invested in this community because I've given my time, my treasure, the time away from my family to do this. But what it really comes down to is that when I started talking to residents about what do you want to see for this city, I believe that, like I said in my opening statement, that my vision for Frisco more closely matches what you want for this community. And that needed to be represented well, and it needed to be represented boldly. And so I've spent the last year knocking on doors myself, not paying other people to do it, knocking on doors myself to find out from the residents on their front doorstep, what do you want from your community? What would make Frisco great for you? What do you think Frisco's doing really well for you, and how can we do it better? And those are the things that I'm taking forward in my leadership. And so when I gathered all of that together and said what my vision comes together with, I thought this is the place where my leadership is needed and where it's going to go.
I love Frisco, and I love the people here, I love the people in it. I love the work that we have done together. It's easy to say that you got to have new people and new blood when you've never set foot in City Hall, either as elected or as an appointed person. You haven't even finished your first term of the thing that you said you wanted to do the first time. So it makes it really difficult to sit here and know that our number one partner is the school district, and that our first job is to keep your tax rate competitive and low, and our next job is to fill those potholes and make sure the infrastructure and everything is in place, and make sure we have the right police and fire departments, and that public safety is number one job here. I love this city. I've worked hard to build the city that you call home. I worked hard to partner with everybody in this room. I've had the same phone number for 25 years, and I give it out all the time. I give it out on questionnaires, I've pushed it out on mailers, and I invite people to call me, text me, email me, reach out. I love how there are people in the community who say, you know, the first person I met when I came to Frisco was John Keating. Thank you.
I think, Nora, we can get started with audience questions. Yeah.
Perfect. That first question is going to be, what prevents installing school zone speed cameras? There have been many incidents where there's misses in school zones. So we can begin with Mark.
Why not have school zone cameras?
Yes, what prevents installing school zone speed cameras?
I think that may be a good idea for a partnership between the city and the school district, and I don't know a better person to do that than, I don't know, maybe me. But we take great pride in the school district in safety. It is a hallmark of our district. We are leaders in that throughout the state, throughout the country, on a lot of different levels. I think you heard some of the school board candidates talk about all of those things that we're doing. Initiatives that can help with safety. I often talk about if you perceive a problem, if you have an issue, and when we're on school board and we're at community input nights, if you have a problem, the one thing I ask of you is come with a solution. Come prepared with a solution so that we can learn how to improve our practices. I think it's a terrific idea. And it's something that, you know, assuming affordability and assuming, you know, efficiency, we can do it. I think it's a great idea. But I know one thing is we are very safe and we're very committed. We have a lot of good teachers also and support staff every morning and afternoon at the end of school.
So in fairness and transparency, I'm going to say state law is what prevents us from doing that. They said a long time ago, several years ago, that you couldn't have light cameras, red light cameras, and speed cameras because that was against your rights to do so. So that would be why we can't do it. But there are some things we can do. We can set up more patrols. We can set up more things where our police officers can be there in some of those areas where we have those high-intensity issues happening and where you have more frequency of speeding taking place. But what we need is for you to report those to us, because that's how we can get more people there in those areas when you're letting us know that there's an issue. And part of that comes back into when we talk about staffing, we can't just staff for the random Tuesdays of things. We've got to staff for how our community is growing, how the traffic patterns have changed, and we have to staff our police officers in a way that we can handle for the events that come to town. So all of those key parts are part of the public safety, which is why I'm so focused on public safety.
It's often said that if you can solve the school pickup and drop off, you can be president. It's one of those things that we think maybe Chick-fil-A should be running that. You know, it ironically comes down to education. Our kids, our students need to understand where they can cross and where they can't cross and when it's safe. And our parents need to understand where it's okay to pick up and where it's okay to drop off. And trying to cheat the system and be around the corner and so the kids come out the back or something and run across the street to get into the car so you can run off and get to that appointment or something. It's like that might work once, maybe twice, but then, as we've heard, these close calls happen. And that's where then everything comes to a screeching halt and everybody says, well, okay, where exactly is the problem? We have a community of highly educated, highly motivated, in many cases, highly compensated folks who are rule followers. That's what makes the city so safe and such a wonderful place. But when we have these small problems, we need to step back and remember that it starts with our kids. And if we can remind our kids what the safety rules are, they will be safer. And as parents, that is our responsibility. Thank you.
All right, next question. We'll start with Shauna again because Mark, you just went. Sorry, John, you just went. There have been some outspoken critics of the city's demographics in the past few months. Concerns have been raised about South Asian cultures and religions. If elected, how would you address such concerns to promote unity in Frisco?
I'm going to do what I've been doing for the last 10 years, which is meeting with people right where they are. And I think that's the way you do this. You can't set up rules, you can't force people to be friends, and you can't force people to like each other. But what I can do is meet you where you are. And if I meet you where you are and I learn about who you are and I learn about the things that are important to you and I get to know your kids' names and I get to know the neighborhood and I get to know the problems that you feel are important to you and I get to know your dreams, then I want to support those. And so that's what I'm going to continue doing. And again, I go back to why I've been knocking on doors so much. We've done thousands of doors, and the reason is because I want to be in the place where it's least intimidating to you, on your front porch, asking you about the things that matter to you. So that's how we promote unity. We build those relationships. We sit down for coffee. We get to know each other. And one of my favorite things to do is when someone makes a comment on something on one of my social media posts is to say, hey, let's go meet for coffee. And once we do that, usually we can find some common ground. And so I'm going to encourage each of you to do that, and I'm going to do the same with you.
If we want to make America great again, it's got to be great for all Americans. It can't just be one group over another. We've heard this before. We've seen our black population get blamed for welfare fraud. We've seen the Asian community get blamed for medical insurance fraud. We've seen the Hindus get blamed for H-1B fraud, and it just goes on and on and on. And what happens is when these groups reach a place of economic success, someone else then becomes jealous and angry that they got something that they felt they were entitled to, that they didn't get the job, they didn't get the house, they didn't get the car that somebody else got. And they're seeing a lot of success in our Indian community. They're seeing a lot of success in the Muslim community. They're seeing a lot of success with people who aren't sixth-generation Texans. And you know what? This is a land of opportunity, home of the free, land of the brave. I tell you, as a soldier, as a veteran, someone who's gone downrange to defend this country and the values that we hold dear, to come home and see Americans fighting Americans, I can tell you that is the worst possible feeling, worst thing you can see or witness as a veteran. Thank you.
I think you have to take action and take measures that actually bring about change. And so our campaign theme from the very beginning has been Unite Frisco. You see it all over town, okay? We came up with that 6 or 7 months before a lot of the recent nonsense. I have 2 rules if you want to be on the Unite Frisco team. They're very simple. Number 1, you have to be positive about the future of this city. And you have to speak about it in a very positive way. You need to drown out a lot of the negativity that is killing this city right now. Number 2, and this is how you affect that change, you elect new people. You bring new, fresh voices that are here, that care about this city, that are from different parts of this city, that are wanting to get engaged in this city. That's how you bring about change, that's how you drown out some of the nonsense, and that's how you unite Frisco.
Thank you. This next question is for John Keating. You have 2 contributions of $50K each on your CFR from developers. Why will you not be influenced by them?
They have already been influenced by me. That is not a developer. It's a gentleman named Josh Pfeifferman. He runs a digital billboard company. It's a family-owned business, lives in Dallas. And for years, I have helped him out with his digital business. In other cities where they want to take down a traditional billboard that he's got, he'll take down 3 standard billboards if he can put up 1. The one up on 380 had to come down because 380 was getting widened. The city didn't have a digital sign ordinance. I went to work on that. The work that I did, he was able to use in other cities. That signboard is one of the richest contracts in the city of Frisco. We get $2 million off of that. It's one of the richest digital sign contracts in the country. We have first right of refusal over the ads that run on it. If there's something we don't like, we don't get it. The city gets free advertising on there. It was the first sign in the country to be linked to the National Weather Service. So you get they can break in and immediately give you a severe weather warning. It's linked to silver alerts, amber alerts, things like that. I would not take contributions from him over the past several years that we've been working to get that sign moved. And recently, back in September, I said, hey, I'm going to run this campaign. It's going to take about $200,000 to win this thing. And before I could finish or say another word, he said, I'm in for $100,000. You have saved me way more than that. You've helped me make more than that. You've exceeded the work that I'm called out on this. And so I'm going to take an extra minute to speak to it.
We would want to give other folks a chance to respond as well.
Fair enough. But listen, this keeps getting billed as a developer contribution, and it is not.
I don't know. If we could keep the comments down, we'll just let the audience members speak. Actually, we're coming close to our time for our next prayer break. Can we go to closing statements? Anyone want to start?
Well, sure, I'll start. Goodness. I apologize for going over. I'm just passionate about it. You know, we have some good small business owners here. A lot of the small business owners down on Main Street have been impacted by the construction down there, and we understand that. That was an $80 million investment of your tax dollars, and we want to make sure that those dollars are well spent down there. That was a part of Main Street. We got each side of it, but we didn't get the middle. And if your toilets aren't flushing, your lights aren't coming on, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're running, you need that infrastructure fixed, you need that road fixed, you need solutions for parking, you need solutions for entertainment, for a draw downtown, and that's what we've been working on down there. Very proud of the work that we've done. I know it seems like it's taken a long time. We projected 18 months. It came in right at 18 months. It's going to be a fantastic destination. We've got some great programming. And as mayor, I will bring the parade back down to Main Street. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a really great thing. Yes. Thank you. And it'll be advertised on the digital billboard. So, so I am John Keating. I'm running for mayor. The school district is our #1 partner. I did not mean to be misquoted on that. I do have the Texas PTA Lifetime Member Award for the work that I did while I served on the PTA for 7 years and set fundraising records right here in Frisco for money that our parents and our teachers and our students could use. This is an amazing city. Experience matters. You can't just come and walk into this as an entry-level job. There's no 90-day learning curve. You come in, you hit the ground running, you work with a council that you've been given. That's how you operate as a soldier. You are tasked with those lives. They're put in your hands. You're given a mission. You're given goals, and you go downrange and get it done and make sure everybody comes home. You declare victory, you share the credit, and you move on to your next objective. And that's what we're going to continue to do here in Frisco to keep this city the #1 place in America. Thank you.
First off, thank you so very much for your time and attention tonight. The reason I'm here tonight is because I gave my word. And when I give my word, I stand on my word because my integrity says that I need to do the things that I say that I'm going to do. I do want to say one thing real quick. My opponent mentioned something about unity. And in his opening statement, he basically disparaged the service that 2 people had for serving this city. And while John and I have been in different political rivalries at different times or been on different issues, I will never disrespect the service that he has had to this community for the time that he's done. And I hope that somebody wouldn't do that for me either. I don't think that's unity, and that's not how you start off with unity. We need to respect the service that other people have done. Now, let's talk about some of the things. One of the things that I've made sure to do on our social media posts and things where we've done, and from every single forum we've talked about, is to talk specifics and to talk about where I stand on the issues, because I think you, the resident, deserve to know where I stand on issues. If we just talk about sound bites and if we just talk about things that are easy to say, but we don't give real practical steps of what we're doing, then we're really not giving you what you deserve as a voter. So when we've talked about public safety, I've given very specific positions and very specific tools. When we've talked about development, I've talked about things that I would approve, things that I wouldn't approve. I've talked about how I would finance them. I've talked about the way that I would bring in lower taxes by doing higher commercial development and what that would look like. I've talked about how we would reserve our EDC funds to make sure that they were only used to bring in the best high-paying, high-quality jobs that would be corporate headquarters that were transferred in here. I've talked specifics about some of the things that I think we need to do as far as pulling neighbors together. I've talked specifics about the things that I think are important when it comes to decorum. I was the only mayoral candidate who stood up at citizens' input to protect your right to address our city council and mayor. Because I feel so strongly that even if I disagree with what you say, that you have the right to say it and say it well. So I will continue to protect that and continue to do it. My name is Shauna Sal. It would be my honor to serve you for mayor. It would be my honor to continue to hold to my word and do the things that I've said that I was going to do.
It's getting a little lively towards me tonight. That's, you tell who's winning? Yeah. I want to say, you know, 2 things can be true here. We can respect someone's service, and we can also say it's time for change. And I think that's where we are as a city. This city was founded upon 3 pillars: great education, economic development, and executive leadership. Okay, I am the only candidate that brings all 3 of those to this table. I am immensely proud of my service to Frisco ISD. We have done amazing things over this city for the last year, 2 years, that have benefited everybody in this room. On the economic development front, I am one of 7 directors on the Frisco EDC. As Councilwoman Rummel pointed out accurately, The historical data on that will show a $3.50 to $4 return on every incentivized dollar. What does that do for you? That keeps your residential tax rate low, the lowest in the region, low relatively compared to our neighbors. To keep it that way, we need someone that knows economic development. It broadens the tax base and keeps the taxes off of you. I'm uniquely qualified for that. Number 3, executive leadership. I'm a business owner. I make payroll. I pay rent. I help manage people. I've led a board as president very much like the mayor will lead a council in this city. This city needs a leader in the room. In the coming years, there will be challenges. They will need regional partnerships. I am uniquely qualified to provide that role. I love this city. My family and I love this city. We are going to run this campaign in a very positive way, and we're going to do everything you can to bring decorum and unity back to this city. My name is Mark Hill, and I would appreciate your support.
All right, thank you, everyone. I know we had said we'd keep you till 9. We're very close, 9:03. It's just a couple of minutes past, right? You did see a couple of commotions. The folks were telling me we could stay longer, but I'm trying to hold it. We said 9 o'clock, man. So it's up to you all. I think we've just had our closing statements, but I'm sure the candidates are still going to be around for more questions, so on and so forth.
For sure.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us again today. And thank you for the candidates,
Thank you.
all the candidates for participating. And thank you for all the volunteers. Thanks so much. Oh, and if you support a candidate that you've heard today, they have signs available at their table, so, yard signs and so on and so forth. So if you could pick one up, the candidates would appreciate it. Thank you.